Good morning, everybody, and welcome to another Kerfuffle Showcase. First of 2021, looking for a fantastic new year, and I'm delighted to have Milton from LetsBid Property on today. Milton, are you well?
I'm very well, Simon. Yeah, good morning. Under the circumstances, yes, definitely.
Well, we kind of always, we just have a permanent asterisk, don't we, in terms of reiterating that, yes, there's other stuff going on, but it would take me 2 hours every day to start talking about what's going on in the wider world. So let's deal with what we can control. Milton, fantastic to have you on the show, and indeed on the website as well. We're talking here today, title of the show, Let's Bid, the new way of buying and renting property. Got a couple of really interesting solutions from you. One in the auctions arena, one in the prospecting arena. Two different services, complementary in some ways though, and we're going to spend a little bit of time talking about them now. But to kick us off, would you mind just giving us a bit of your background?
Yeah. So I left university and joined Barclays Bank, funny enough, and ended up getting institutionalized by Barclays. Absolutely loved working in a big corporate, learned a lot. And I left there to join a property development company where we developed probably 300 to 400 million in property assets in Zone 1, Zone 2, Central London as a shareholder director. Then left and set up my own business and equity and capital, where we have 3 or 4 different strands of what we do. We're one of the founding companies who actually knew what build to rent was many years ago now, and have deployed significant capital in that market. We're developers, property traders, we're all-round property professionals really, and we've done hundreds of millions of developments and trades. And of course, I had a big soft spot for estate agents, a family-owned estate agent when I was young. So at a young age of 12, 13 years old, going into the office, having a look at my aunties and uncles' business to see what they're doing, and absolutely loved it. So I've always had that passion for agency. I ended up becoming a shareholder in an auction company where we were punching above our weight, called Lansdowne Auctions. We were doing 50, 60 million pound a year in sales, and then quickly realized that there's a massive market here that's untapped, and you had great companies like I Am Sold, Patterson's, all taking advantage of this and doing very well. So we thought of LetsBid, kicked off developing the software, and here we are now. And LetsBid is one of my babies, should we say, that I absolutely love and got massive passion for. And we're here to really help estate agents get a cost-effective solution to enter the market.
Great. So give us a bit of background about your baby then. Talk us through LetsBid and what it's, why you created it. Again, you obviously mentioned there that you've got a lot of experience with property, but specifically what problems were you trying to solve with the LetsBid proposition?
Yeah, so bit of a story really. So I went to buy a property for myself personally. It was quite a significant property. It was a family home. Went to buy it from an agent. I was always keep an eye out on the portals and having a look at prices dropping. And even though I owned an auction, I wasn't too familiar with the modern method of auction then, because I was tunnel visioned with traditional auctions back then. And then slowly you get to see what everyone else is doing. So when I went to buy a property, it dropped all of a sudden overnight by 15% odd. Went to speak to the agent. Great, said, right, I'm going to buy it. And he asked me for £100,000 fee. And I thought, wow, £100,000 is a lot of money to pay for a fee. And he explained how it all worked. And that's when I started understanding how the modern method of auction worked. But guess what? I walked out that office, walked across the road to another estate agent, and bought another property, unfortunately, because it wasn't the fact I didn't like that property. It was the fact that I had a certain amount of cash available for mortgages, stamp duty, etc. And to put another £100,000 in wasn't what I wanted to do. So then I thought to myself, we can eliminate this, because it's a great solution. It's a great solution to be able to buy something and put a reservation deposit down and get a commitment from that seller to make sure that that property is yours, and then proceed. And it was fantastic. And so that's how LetsBid's come around. We've been through a good couple of years of developing, learning the market. Education is probably the big thing. We focused on the London market at the moment, and the London market was probably one of the most uneducated markets around that modern method of auction, because some of the suppliers at the moment have hit the north of the UK and have educated that market very well. Don't get me wrong, we're still on a massive journey. Everyone is, because people still don't realise that you don't have to have a dilapidated property or something that is literally falling to the ground to go into an auction. It can be a normal property, a normal sale. People just want that commitment, really. And normally, if someone's putting a financial commitment down, it means they're going to proceed. Yeah, and that's the big thing that we were trying to achieve, and we're achieving, and we're taking good tries of doing that.
And why do you think the North has adopted it quicker than obviously, as you quite rightly point out, the South?
I think there's a number of reasons. I think firstly, you've got two great companies up there who have really educated the market and really gone out there. I think the second thing is price point as well, because the prices in the North are a lot lower than the South. So all of a sudden, when you're saying to someone you've got to pay a £5,000-6,000 fee and you're doing a £100,000 transaction, even though it's 6% of the transaction, it's still something that could be swallowed. Where in the Southeast, you were talking about an average transaction of £400,000, and you're asked to put £20,000 down, it starts changing. I think that's probably primarily the reason. The other thing is staff turnover as well. You've got a lot less staff turnover in the North, so it means that the estate agents who get educated on that system and how it works get the benefits and are there to keep providing them benefits for their customers. But we've got a lot more staff turnover in the Southeast, I've seen. So it needs a lot more education, should we say. But that's why we're here today with Kerfuffle, to hopefully see if we can educate as well what we're doing to our Northern friends and colleagues up there to see what we can do.
Okay, and teach us through. Obviously, you've mentioned some of the great companies that are out there doing. So, how does the LetsBid proposition, compare with some of those more established brands in the auctions arena?
Yeah. So you've got some great companies out there who have already gone out and educated it, and I think that the main differences are okay. So I think that the first thing is that we don't charge buyers fees, so we've eliminated that issue that we see. So if a buyer, so we've seen that a lot of the feedback we've had is that they come along, if you're going to have to put a £20,000 fee down, people just haven't got the cash. They've just about saved the deposit, just about saved for the stamp duty, and haven't got that extra bit of cash to put in. So we've eliminated buyer fees. We still take a reservation deposit. So the main difference between us is that deposit comes off the exchange money. So it means that if someone's putting down a 1%, 2%, 3% reservation deposit, that comes off their initial exchange when they do it. So it means you don't need that extra bit of cash to do it, but you still achieve the same result. You still get financial commitment. Still get financial commitment, which is probably one of the single biggest things. The other thing is that we don't take none of their fee. So we don't take none of the estate agent's fee at all. So they can charge whatever they like, as long as they agree that with their vendor, and that's it. The third thing is they have complete control. So what our competitors realize very quickly is that they need to take control, because if they take control, they can make sure they manage that sell through, and they eliminate that education piece. We don't do that. We educate the estate agent to make sure they can manage that sell through themselves, which means they keep all their fee, and we can eliminate that process, and that's a big thing for us. But there's a lot of other benefits to that. The education the estate agent gets, the built of their own brand, they take their own leads, they manage it through, and it works. And that's kind of some of the massive differences between us and some of our competitors, and it works because. And don't get me wrong, we've had teething problems. Everyone does, and we very quickly fixed them. So the first problem we had, we thought that all estate agents have got great relationships with lawyers and they can go and get legal packs themselves, but it doesn't work like that. So we've now made partnerships with a company called Moving Legal, who provide no upfront costs legal packs for the estate agents' clients, and that works fantastic, because now the estate agents don't have to have difficult conversations with their vendors who really want to use this process but don't want to go and pay £1,000 for a legal pack. This way we can use Moving Legal, get a legal pack for the client, and get the property marketed and get it sold. And so all these little stuff that we're doing, and it comes on to the other thing. The other problem we had is that clients want stock, the estate agents want stock, and that's where we've launched our prospecting tool, which we can talk about a bit later. But there's all sorts of different stuff in the value chain that we're going to keep adding in and going through to make sure we keep adding that value. So there's another thing that we're doing at the moment called a probate tool. Phenomenal system that we've got, where we latch on to all the probate properties that are coming on in the UK market, and you get details of the executors and so on, where you can send letters across and start getting instructions there, because these are ideal auction lots. So it's so we're doing a lot of stuff.
You help nurture that from that side of things as well. And it sounds to me, when you're talking about that there, to slightly pivot it away from the established players, is what they're giving a really hands-on service, obviously, which comes at it with a price point. What you're going at is a bit more of an Amazon kind of platform approach. You're giving the platform to be able to do this, and taking a really small, almost, just a tiny click in terms of providing that actual platform for them. So this is for a very specific sort of agent, but it's really a land grab, isn't it? You're going after the volume here to make this work for people who want to tap into this valuable area.
Yeah, the big thing that we get is, what's the catch? They can't believe it when we're saying you get all this and it's that amount and you don't take none of the fee. The thing is, what's the catch? What's the catch? There is no catch. It's you keep your fees. You keep all your fees. We don't do it, but we help you manage that client. We help you manage that process, and we put so much stuff in the middle to make sure you don't have issues. And we're there all the time. We're there all the time to help you. But our ideal thing is to make sure we get you in a position where you can run the process yourself. And you're completely right. We give you the tools to be able to go and do it without having to give half your profits away.
Great. And what's been the feedback so far from the initial clients that have been using the service?
Yeah, we've had some great feedback. We've had great feedback. Probably one of the most important feedbacks we've had that I absolutely love was that an estate agent in North London went out for an instruction, okay? And he called us up and said, look, absolutely love LetsBid. And we said, why? What happened? He goes, look, I didn't get an auction instruction, but just because I could offer auction services, okay, I won the instruction over a big corporate because they said to me that if we can't sell in the normal way, we can put it onto an auction method and try and achieve a quick sale. And because of that, I won the instruction. In the end, he sold it by the traditional method, which is fantastic. And that's another big plus point with us, okay? We don't tie no one in. So if they decide that they want to switch from an auction sale to traditional sale, they can do that anytime they want. And there's no penal penalties from us, where some of the other providers do. So once you agree to go into that auction group, and if you, for any reason, pull out the transaction, you have to pay penal clauses for coming out, and for the right reasons, because there's money's invested in to do that. With us, it's different. With us, we don't, because it's the estate agent's auction. It's their auction. So they decide what they want to do. And look, we always encourage them to take a reservation deposit and sell via the modern method of auction. Of course we do. But if for any reason they can't, then we don't mind. They can switch, do what they want, as long as their vendor's happy and that customer journey is the correct one. That's what we want.
That's great. And I mean, it's always nice to hear that validated as well by somebody on the website here. So excuse me while I just hide it for the moment. Have a sneaky drink of coffee if you can do while I just do this. We've got a testimonial on your landing page here from Scott Simmons Estates. Yeah. Go on to say, since using LetsBid property in the platform, we have gained instructions due to having an in-house auction with no fees to buyers, which has helped our vendors be able to sell in more than one way and not have to outsource to auctions companies. We've greatly enjoyed the recently released prospecting tool, which allows us to canvass for new business and build our brand at a fraction of the price compared to other similar services. The team's expertise and support have helped us grow our service. It's great to hear that from Daljit there over at Scott Simmons. So what I'm seeing there from what he's highlighting again is one of the key things here is you really shouldn't be losing the opportunity to at least get invited out on the basis of what you charge to you. When you get that type of vendor that says, look, we insist on knowing your fee, you can say, well, there is a way of doing this. There's no cost to yourself whatsoever.
Yeah. So I think the big thing for us is that we don't want to put off any buyers, okay? Yeah. Because if a buyer comes along and you've got a great property there, and that buyer really wants the property, but they can't buy it because they've got to pay an additional 4%, 5%, 6% in the fees, for me, it eliminates the whole purpose of an estate agent. We want to make sure we can sell a property to the right buyer for the right fee, okay? And that's what we're doing. That's what we're doing. We're eliminating these buyers' fees. The estate agent's still earning relatively the same amount of money, whether they've done it via us, they've done it with one of our competitors. The difference is that the vendor obviously is getting a better price for their property. Yeah. And that's what's being achieved, and we're getting more buyers coming along. So it's great. And they're right. You're right in the first assignment. We're trying to get a mass audience here, yeah, and that's the reason we can do it for so cheap, yeah, because we're looking at a mass audience. We've got internal developers that in our team. We've got 3 developers that are working internally that are constantly innovating, constantly producing new stuff, and that's why we can deliver this for a certain price point, and we're going to commit to make sure it's affordable.
Great. And what's the sort of demographic of agent? What's your perfect client you're looking for at the moment?
So at the moment, our perfect client is an agent between 1 to 5 branches. That's the kind of market that we're looking at, because what we've realized is that that agent in the past has shunned away from going down an auction route, going down a prospecting route because of price. Because price, it's become very expensive to be able to go and do it. So we had an agent we took on recently in Twickenham, where they were working with a prospecting company and an auction company. They had 2 postcodes with that prospecting company, and they were paying around £600 a month. And that's just for the prospecting tool. And then they had a relationship with one of the auction providers where they were doing 3-4 sales a year. And that's fantastic for a company in the Southeast. They were taking in fees of 40-50 grand a year on the back of that. So it's a great additional bit of income for them. And we've come along and we've cut their prospecting bill to just under 15% of that. So all of a sudden they're paying us 80 quid a month to have the postcodes there and to have the auction service. And they can't be thankful enough, because they're still carrying on. They're still sending out their canvassing letters as they were doing, and they're still attracting their auction listings. But this time they're in full control themselves, and they're avoiding these buyer's fees, which is what stopped them in the past, they're telling me, doing 6-7 sales a year rather than the 4 sales a year. So that's kind of a big thing for us.
Okay, so talk us through. I mean, you mentioned that now a few times. Yeah, talking about the second part of this prospecting tool there, obviously there. Yeah. This is hot off this hot out of your lab, isn't it? Your developers have been working on this busily there.
Yeah.
So talk to us a little bit further about that. What's it? Where you feel that's going to work?
Yeah, so a lot of the feedback that were coming back to us for LetsBid was that, look, great service, we love it, we want to sell this way. We dealt with the legal problem, which making sure we had the legal packs for them with moving legal. And the other problem that we kept having was that we need stock. We need more and more stock. And how do we get that stock for them is by launching a prospecting tool for them. So initially we were recommending them to go to different prospecting companies to have a look at what they do. But when they were coming back, they were saying, look, we just can't afford it. We can't afford to go and pay these prospecting companies hundreds and hundreds of pounds every single month. So we got down to it. It took us about 6 to 9 months to develop it. And when we're still innovating as we're doing, but it's a great system. And for me, it works. You're targeting marketing. You're actually finding properties that are on the market with full addresses. You're literally clicking 3 or 4 buttons and printing out hundreds of letters and sending them out. And we're seeing success stories. We're seeing success stories. We saw one recently with an agent in North London again, who had an investor was looking at 3-bed properties, missed out on one. He then tapped 20 targeted letters for 3-bed semis in his area that are available. He managed to get 3 valuations, 1 joint instruction, 1 sole instruction, and it's been sold subject to contract already. So it works. This stuff works. It's brilliant. So there's lots of different things you should be doing though. You shouldn't just send a generic letter. It should be a unique content letter. You've got to do all this different stuff to make sure it works. Like one of the agents, which is fantastic, and it's actually Scott Simmons at Dowgett, I saw him doing it. He's using different color envelopes. It was brilliant. I actually loved that. So he was using like yellow, purple, red envelopes. So when the envelopes are coming through, it makes it more likely for someone to open it. And he's getting some fantastic results on it as well. So there's lots of different things that I'm seeing agents do that's working. And look, we're proud to be able to give this stuff to agents at an affordable price so they can actually go out there and use it.
How much? I mean, obviously, when you're doing it at such competitive price points, you know, it's very hard to leverage as much service on there. But do you give them enough assistance and advice to at least get the ball rolling?
100%, yeah. So before any agent comes onto LetsBid, they've got to go through our business development team. They go onto the business development team. We give them some education on how it will work. We walk them through the whole process. It's really simple to use. We've designed it so it's really, really simple. It's a platform that you go on. You've got your typical bits of the pop. You click a button, you click more buttons and just print. It's so easy to use, but you've got lots of different features with it. Properties that have been sold, properties that have fallen through. You can highlight properties that have been on the market for 8 weeks, 12 weeks, etc. There's lots of different ways to do it. It's very, very simple to use, and we've designed it that way. We've designed it that way to make it simple.
So literally, you've done, if you like, the donkey work. You've teed it up for them and said, look, dashboard style here. It is very easy to be able to see the relevant information that you need to act on. Any other kind of unique features that sort of separates you apart?
100%, yeah. So there's a couple of things, right? So the first thing is we're doing manual work as well. So we don't just give the normal data that everyone else gives. We've got a team that are actually inputting manual addresses onto our system. So it means that we're getting more percentages of properties on the market, which is phenomenal, because they're the ones that we're saying to agents, focus on them ones, because them ones they're not getting 2 or 3 letters through the door. You'll probably be the only letter that comes through the door. So you're more likely to be able to win that instruction if you're going out on your own. So that's a big unique feature that we're doing. And the second one is the probate one. So that's coming out in literally in a matter of days. We're testing it at the moment. It's all great. Yeah. So I tested it yesterday and it's working, where we're literally providing details of executors, deceased details and full addresses. So estate agents can send letters to the executors and let them know we're here. You don't have to go to a big auction house to be able to sell this property. Your local estate agent can do it and probably get you a better price. And that's the message we want to let the executors know. And that's the message that come clearly across to me when I was in the auction game myself. Because when I was at the National Auction House, it was weird, because you had estate agents, you had executives calling us from Nottingham, say we want to put it into your London auction. And I was thinking, great, because what do you know about a 3-bed terrace in Nottingham? Well, not very much. And I'd pick up the phone to a local estate agent in Nottingham to find out. This way, that local estate agent in Nottingham can say, look, we're the experts in our market. We know this patch. You don't have to go to a big auction house to do it. We can sell it for you. And that's the big thing for us. Now, don't get me wrong, they have to nurture these executors. You're not going to be able to get that listing straight away. You send the letter out, you then give them a call, and it's a process. But if you build a decent enough pipeline, they'll start coming in. And these are decent stock, and you can help you build a good brand and a good clientele if you can get this stuff on board. So that's a great feature we're adding on. Really, really good feature.
Somebody's Alex has just popped up and said he's interested in the service. So I'll Alex, I've got your message there. I'll forward on the details to you, Milton afterwards from that, and we'll talk about the end, how people can find out a little bit more. There's also a deal on the table, so please do stay tuned for that. And in terms of that's the kind of initial onboarding. Is there support afterwards? You'd expect you're here to still help people out?
Look, we are, 100%. So we're always there. So we've got a 24-hour system on our prospecting tool, which can make sure that agents can get that support when they need it. But we've also got an account manager. So you've got to have an account manager. So you've got an account manager you can call. Don't get me wrong. The reason we are so competitive, is because we can't take that client away from you and go and win the instruction for you, manage all the legal services. Because if we've done that, we've got to take the fee as well. And that's the whole reason we can stay competitive. But what we do is give you that education and that knowledge at the very start to go and do it yourself. Plus, it's all the partnerships we're doing. And look, we were speaking to a company yesterday called Mass Reports, great company, where they with a click of a button, they can give you a report for your client to show how you can extend your property and how you can sell that property better. And look, where we can't do it the best in class, we will partner with people. And that's the big thing for us. We're massive fans of partnering people who are best in class. And for me, they're best in class. So we will partner with someone like that and add that feature on to get it out to that estate agent community to help them sell properties.
So because you've got this ethos of obviously no frills, if you like, you're concentrating on getting the real value for money and everything else. What does that price point look like for the different products?
So at the moment, we've gone out really, really cheap, and everyone thinks we're absolutely crazy, but we're doing it because we want to get mass audience and we want everyone to benefit from this. We're going out at the moment for £50 a month to have full access to the auction tool. That's full access to upload as many properties you want on the auction tool. You can order as many legal packs as you want, and you get access to the full postcode. So all the other companies, well, most of the other companies, they break a postcode into 5 or 6 categories. We don't do that. We give you the full postcode.
So that would be, so talk me that, because how does it go? It goes down to domain and whatever level, doesn't it? So what would that be?
So if you're talking about London and you're talking about N14, for example, so other companies will break N14 into 4 or 5 postcodes, and they'll charge you per one. Exactly. So N14, someone will charge you, they'll say there is 6 sectors in N14 and we will charge you for each sector. We don't. We give you the whole N14. We give you the whole N14. We're averaging at the moment between 50 to 70% of properties on the market. That's what the stuff with the data we're pulling off. Of course, it varies. It varies for different outcodes and stuff because you just don't know what properties are on the market at that stage. Yeah, but we're getting some really good results, really good results, and we're giving some great bit of data across. There's one agent who's taken the whole of an area, and he's still paying less than 20% what he was paying to one of our competitors for someone else, and he's loving it, absolutely loving it. And look, we want to get this out. We want to get this out. We want agents to get instructions. The more successful they are, the more successful we're going to be, and we want to keep innovating. So the more we can get from you, the better.
I suspect at that price point you're going to get a lot of interest to try it. And actually, it's amazing. We all think that agents are using them. Everyone's using these tools. There's obviously, in my head, it's actually still probably a majority that aren't. So there's no better way of being able to test the service, isn't get involved with it all, than to talk to you guys.
Yes, Simon, you're spot on. We thought the same thing. We thought everyone's using this stuff because why wouldn't you be? Why wouldn't you want to send a letter directly to someone who's on the market where you can get them a buy and you can help? We thought everyone would be doing it, but they're not because of the price. It's very, very expensive. It's very, very expensive for some agents to use it. A lot of the corporates have used it, and are still using it. And we want to get into that market as well. Don't get me wrong. So we want to look at how we can license our products to the big corporates. We think we can save them a huge amount of money as well. Okay, but at the moment, our main target audience is looking at that 1 to 5 branches, getting it out to the mass audience, let everyone having a fair shot at this, and then getting their feedback. And of course, we're only going to get better with more feedback that comes back from agents. So we want them to use it. We want them to start winning instructions, giving us feedback on what they want and how they want to do things, and we're going to do it.
Excellent. And you mentioned moving legal. Just give us a bit of background there. How does that partnership work?
Yeah, so I touched base with John last year. Really good guy. He's got a really good team. They work with hundreds, if not thousands, of agents, brokers, and all sorts of different people. And they've got some really good connections with lawyers. We tried everything. So we thought to ourselves that estate agents already have the relationships with solicitors and they can go and get legal packs for their clients. We were wrong. Some have, some don't. And the costs up front, some of them were charging, were absolutely crazy. So John come along and we've got a great product now where an estate agent can literally, it's a product only for LetsBid, where they join up onto our back-end dashboard. They click a button onto Moving Legal. It pops up with a couple of quotes. As long as the vendor accepts the quote, a legal pack is produced with searches. That's very important to say, with searches, and there's no upfront cost whatsoever, okay? And the vendor only pays for the legal pack once the property is sold. Okay. And that's helped significantly win more instructions for estate agents.
I can absolutely see that's the case. Yeah. And so look, I mean, you've been busy. You haven't created just one project off it. You've got 2 and actually different product lines coming out all the time. Dare I ask what's next for you guys at LetsBid?
There's lots of stuff we're doing, lots and lots of stuff we're doing. So there's something actually we actually started already, because look, with the prospecting tool now, you've got data. And data is key, isn't it? And we've got some great bits of data there. So yeah, great. That bit of data is going to serve the estate agent market well, but we're also looking at stuff for property investors as well. So we want to look at how we can do stuff with property investors to give them an idea. So on properties that pop on the market, and if it meets a selective list of, because artificial intelligence in prop tech is here, okay? It's not going away, and it's only going to get better. And as long as we put great minds like all the estate agents and developers and investors and ourselves together, and we think of stuff of how it all works, then it's just going to help. So, for example, that tool we're coming across now with the property investor is going to be really exciting. It's going to be really exciting. Can't wait to launch that. It's still work in progress, still going to take us a while, but that's coming out as well. And there's lots of stuff. Our developers are always doing things, and we've still got stuff that we could launch now, but we're not, because we want to focus at the moment on our prospecting and LetsBid. And as the service evolves, as more agents adopt to the service, then we can start helping and bringing in more products at an affordable price.
So they can be confident they'll be more get on board with you at the moment, and you'll just keep delivering extra kind of product lines to an agent, all at this really competitive price point.
Yeah, exactly that. But it only works if it's mass. Yeah, it's got to be a mass service, which is why we can keep it this cheap. So that's our aim. Our aim is to go out to the mass audience and get agents adopting it in a mass way, and that way then we can still keep it at this kind of level. And at the moment, it's working. It's working. We're getting a lot of great agents contacting us, and they only believe it when they get it. Because at the moment, agents can't believe it. They're saying, "Are you serious? We're paying this person X amount of money. Can we actually see it?" No problem. See it, test it, have a look at it. And when they're testing and having a look at it, they come back and say, "Yep, great, we want it. Let's go." And the other good thing is, while it's a 12-month commitment, they can exit any time in 3 months. They can exit any time in 3 months, and that's kind of the way we're doing it. And there's some agents saying, "We want to test it for a month. Can we do it for a month?" No problem.
I was just going to ask you, is the ability. I mean, actually, if it's only 3 months commitment, it's not that much, but you will allow them to even give it a go for a month and to suck it and see.
100%. It's all tailored to each individual agent. It depends on what they want. So we had one agent that come along and said, "Look, I want 20 postcodes." We've given someone 20 postcodes. We can't let them exit in a month because obviously there's a lot of data we give them at the start. But if it's a small agent that want to test it for a month, we can give them a test postcode of something else for them to have a look at how it all works. So look, we tailor it to each agent.
Basically, get in contact with you, Milton. You'll talk it through, and there's normally a solution from them being able to test the service at a really affordable or indeed no cost price.
100%. We've got some great account managers in place at the moment, and we want more. So anyone listening that's got some good account managers out there that want to come and join a fast-growing company, let us know, because we're always keen to take on more people.
Well, we've got a number of recruiters on the platform, so no doubt they'll be on the phone to you afterwards as well. But yeah, if you get people going direct, that's obviously helpful. So let me just summarise, Milton, because again, I think you've been really kind. You've come up with a special offer for our Kerfuffle members, which of course we all love on here. Bit of a late Christmas present, but we don't mind that if they come in. I'll just summarise as best as I can see, though, those takeaways that for the agents there. So basically, from an agent's point of view, they don't have to give away half your income, like some of the other providers. Obviously, there it is much more of a self-service approach here. If you want to hold on to that revenue and you're willing to put the time and energy into it, this is the platform to build your database and offer auctions off the back of it. That's the first one, isn't it? That's the first key point. Avoid buyers' fees and attract more bids on the property with buyers now able to put less cash in the deal. So that's the second element there. Yeah. Avoid those difficult conversations with vendors who need to explain you keeping circa 5% of the price being avoided. All of these are obviously, really banging the nail in, isn't it, in terms of avoiding those difficult conversations that some agents are having to have at the moment in terms of being accused of keeping a bit too much of the revenue. Yeah. And then on the second point of this, with the prospecting tool, again, just being able to market intelligently, have a more targeted approach, being able to go for the full postcode without having to break it down to sectors that you ordinarily might have had to have done. Yeah. All being able to send, as you said, letters at the click of a button, very simply and very easily. And I suppose finally, it sounds like you're an innovative company that's going to be delivering lots more to those clients who are eager to get on board with you at the ground floor.
100%, yeah, 100%. And the big thing is control as well, right? It's the control. It's the estate agent takes back control. And that's a big thing for us. We want them to have control of their own destiny, and we want to give them the tools to go out and make as much money as they can in the right way.
Great, good stuff. Well, look, just give us an overview then of the deal you've got on the table for our members.
So we're waiving the setup fee for all the Kerfuffle introductions. So because there is work to be done, so we set up a landing page on your website, we do trading and so on. We're waiving the £150 setup fee for all Kerfuffle introductions, and we're honouring the £50 a month cost at the moment, which is going up slightly to £60 in the next few weeks, but we're going to honour it with Kerfuffle. Yeah, 100%. We're going to honour it at £50 a month, and we're going to waive the setup fee. So that's a big thing, and take advantage of it. Take advantage of it because.
I was going to say, it feels a little bit like I'm taking advantage of you there. Given what a fantastic price point it is anyway, it's a bit cheapy of me to make a chip on that. But look, very much appreciated. I think agents conceptually hate things like setup fees, even if there's a good rationale for doing it. So I think you unblocking that part of the process is probably quite a clever thing to do.
100%. And the setup fee that we have, it's because we actually got to spend money with developers to set up stuff on their web pages and stuff. But we're going to waive that. We're going to waive that for all Kerfuffle introductions, and let's see how we get on with you guys. And if it goes all well, then we can do some more deals with you.
Excellent. Well, that's what it's all about, isn't it? That's absolutely good. But before we go, it remains obviously we had Alex there. I'm gonna forward on the details to you then, Milton, afterwards. But let's just see if we've got it here. Here's your wonderful landing page on the big pink site itself. Anybody who is interested, obviously, you can go and see the reviews down here. We can see an overview of what you're about, what you've got coming through. We've got more details, obviously, in terms of that kerfuffle deal. And then right in the middle there, if anyone is ever interested, just click on I'm interested, contact me. Obviously, that will go straight through to Milton and the team. And we will obviously, and then you can pick up the conversation. So, well, Milton, from my point of view, I think it sounds really, really interesting. I think you've thought about the industry and the sector. It's obviously a very attractive sector there, and you've come up and innovated it into a particular niche, isn't it? So I think, come back to us, let us know how that's going. It might be interesting to have a couple of clients on next time, and we'll ask them a few questions as well as to how they see the service straight from the horse's mouth, if you like. But I wish you all the very best. Start of the year. 2021 is going to be fantastic. So we all believe that. Once more again, Milton, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, and stay safe, guys. Thank you. Cheers.
Cheers. Thank you very much.